I'm Alexis McCullough, and I'm here to talk to you about cell phone addiction. So how many of you feel that you are addicted to your cell phone? Well, according to Katie Hurley, studies have shown that 50% of teenagers feel as if they are addicted to their mobile devices. Interestingly enough, we conducted our own survey with 100 respondents, and exactly 50 students feel that they are addicted to their cell phone. This addiction is also known as nomophobia, and it is defined as the fear of being without your smartphone. Technology has become such a huge part of our lives, and it is important to recognize the impact smartphone use has on our daily lives, recognizing the signs and symptoms of addiction, and solutions to lessening this issue. So in this generation, teenagers believe that they're great multitaskers with using their smartphone. Alexander Crispo, a professor at Purdue University, explains how cell phone use has been found to interrupt our conversation and our concentration. I'm sure almost everybody has texted while listening to a conversation or being in a lecture. How successful were you at following the conversation and picking up on details? From our survey, 59% of respondents expressed that they struggle to focus when they have their phone near them. We often miss out on the full meaning and conversation whenever we're focused on our phone, and we also make the person feel unimportant whenever we're placing our attention on the cell phone instead of them. In-person relationships can be strained due to excessive phone use, especially when it has become common for two people to be on their phone at the dinner table instead of talking. It has become easy for people to revert to their phone when they're in an uncomfortable situation or if they want to avoid social situations. People often have poor social skills because online connections have become more intimate than in-person relationships. Melinda Smith and her colleagues stated, "Human beings are social creatures. We're not meant to be isolated or to rely on technology for human interaction." Smartphones have allowed us to separate ourselves from others both physically and emotionally. Utilizing technology for comfort instead of a hug or a face-to-face conversation has become much more common. Technology is a huge part of our modern-day lives, but it has negative impacts on our ability to concentrate and maintain healthy relationships. There are many signs and symptoms of cell phone addiction that affect our everyday lives. From our survey results, we have found that students spend on average 3 to 6 hours a day on their cell phone. As explained by Melinda Smith, there is not a certain number of hours, notifications, or times they pick up their phone that determines whether you're addicted to your cell phone or not. However, there are certain warning signs and addiction. A very common symptom of cell phone addiction includes phantom cell phone vibration syndrome. So if you ever find yourself feeling that there is a notification, or if you hear yourself thinking that there's a ring, then that means that you're suffering from this phantom cell phone vibration syndrome. And from our survey data, 83% of respondents mindlessly check their phone every single day. From personal experience, I have found that oftentimes I look over to check notifications when I'm doing homework or when I'm trying to focus on something else. And despite my intention to simply reply to a text or just glance at a notification, sometimes I'll find myself mindlessly scrolling through Instagram or Snapchat, and then I waste a lot of my time with that instead of doing something more productive. More signs of addiction include the fear of missing out due to not being on social media. There are solutions already set in place to reduce cell phone addiction. Dale Archer, a doctor of medicine, discussed cell phone addiction and how instead of smoke-free zones that are used to reduce cigarette use, there are now signs saying no cell phone use, or restaurants enforcing a no cell phone policy in order for people to genuinely interact and not be distracted by smartphone use. In today's society, it has been normalized for cell phones to be part of the dinner place setting. And instead of interacting face-to-face, people will scroll on their cell phone instead. This no cell phone policy is a beneficial way to encourage face-to-face socialization and avoid cell phone addiction. Smartphone use has been found to disrupt sleeping patterns, so a simple solution is to not sleep with your phone. And if you can't not sleep with your phone next to you and you're unable to leave it in another room, leave it plugged in on the other side of your room. And if you feel the urge, you have to physically get up out of bed to scroll through your phone. You may be surprised at how well this works, and as an additional benefit, when your alarm goes off, you're forced to get up out of bed and start your day. One of the most beneficial ways of limiting cell phone use is the use of, for iPhone users, using the screen time features. So within the screen time setting, you can see the average time you're using your phone a day and whether you're using it more often than you normally do or less often than you normally do. And you can see how often you use it throughout the week, how many hours a day you use it. To be even more specific, you're able to see exactly how many hours you spend in each app a day. And there's an option to set app limits and downtime. To explain downtime, this allows you to choose a time, let's say from 10 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning, where all the entertainment apps on your phone are dimmed, and if you click on them, it says you've reached your limit. Similar to downtime, you can set limits on apps. For example, you might limit yourself to 20 minutes a day on Snapchat, and once you exceed that limit, the app turns gray, and whenever you go on the app, you can choose to ignore the limit and go on the app itself. But although these features allow you to ignore the limit, I have firsthand experience that they are beneficial in reducing my phone use, because by seeing the dimmed app, I'm reminded that I'm not supposed to be on that app and that I have other things to do that are more beneficial. So cell phone addiction is more common in today's society than ever before, and it is increasingly getting worse. There are simple changes that can be made to your everyday life and increase the quality of in-person socialization by limiting your cell phone use. This use affects many aspects of everyday life, so I encourage you to take ownership of how often you're on your phone. And next time you're at the dinner table with your family, to put your phone in another room or put it on silent. So minimizing smartphone use prevents addiction and promotes a wholesome, healthy lifestyle. Thank you for listening to the TED Talk.